Hello and welcome to another video from Ethereal Gaming. Today we're going to be looking at the Centurion 7.1 British medium tank. And while what we're going to be looking at in the video is something that is actually generic to all tanks, the game that was played was actually with the Centurion 7.1, and it's actually quite a good tank when it comes to thinking about what we're going to talk about today. So the tank that I'll be using in the video, it has a crew with no skills trained. We do have a 6th sense directive on it. We have vents, we have vertical stabilizers and a rammer, all normal equipment. We have basic consumables. So overall, this gameplay was taken when I was grinding the tank up the top of the tree, which is the British medium tech tree. At the time we had the fully upgraded turret, which has excellent turret armor, but we did not have the top gun. So we had quite low average alpha damage, which was around 230, low penetration, but an excellent rate of fire, which again is something that can be quite useful in the situation we're going to be talking about. But we do have that excellent 10 degrees of gun depression, which makes the most of the turret armor you can see. As a medium tank, it is on the lower end, I would say, of overall mobility compared to other medium tanks in the game. But when you get that top gun, it certainly does make for that. It is a great gun. And as you can see, even on this gun with the turret, we've got an aiming time of 1.82 seconds. So great aiming time. So in the gameplay we're going to take a look at, I want to talk about something that I term as bait and switch. And it's a combination of potentially looking at the map and the way certain players weigh a little bit differently, using them to the best advantage, and it's a combination of using all the tanks and types of tanks available on your team, regardless of how they are playing their game. So let's jump into that gameplay and take a look. So here we are in game in our Centurion 7.1 on El Haloof, and you can see we are on a mixture of tier 9 tanks and tier 8 tanks, a fairly even balance. And straight away I'm making a push to the northwest side of the map to fight over that corner. It is often where many of the slower medium tanks, those with good turrets, and heavy tanks generally fight over the flanks, whereas you can see those lighter, faster tanks and tank destroyers in the southeastern portion of the map duking it out across the valley. Now in the northwest corner here, it does tend to be a lot more close quarters combat, and we're going to go there and utilize good turret armor, good gun depression, and see what we can do. Now pay particular attention in the southwestern corner. We have our tank destroyers, and this is quite common in many games, many maps. Our tank destroyers are finding their positions at the back of the map and looking to ambush the targets, but we often look badly on those players, saying, oh, they're camping a bush or they're not moving. Well, right now, no, they can't help me, and they're not taking part in this battle. They're fighting their own battle, but there's maybe something that we can do later on. So utilizing the good rate of fire, we're trying to get shots on those tanks moving across the gap. We only get the Chrysler, and we just can't reload in time for that in nil. Now, one thing we do have to be aware of, we have a Renegade who's also quite good at fighting on ridgelines, and they also have a Concept 1. And unfortunately there, I'm already being out-traded as I take a gold round from the Renegade. And now here comes the Concept 1B, who is an excellent tank, particularly in this type of hull-down ridgeline combat. The Concept 1B, excellent alpha damage, and a great turret to boot. So we are establishing our positions, we're looking to whittle down some hit points from each other, seeing who can ascertain dominance in this portion of the map. And while it appears our team are being quite successful in the southeast, we're pretty much grinding a halt, though we do eliminate the mill in the northwestern corner, but we are coming to a bit of a standstill here while we are looking to trade and actually out-trade our out-trade the enemy team. But the Concept 1B and the Tortoise come together, and they have pushed over their ridgeline into the dip, and they are now putting pressure on our team. Now the Concept 1B turns his elongated turret, which gives me a good shot, and we do get a shot into the side of him. However, I can't get a second shot into that excellent turret, and he's now using his gun depression to force me down the hill, because I know that my hull armour isn't going to like taking shots from him and his very large alpha damage. We're looking to find the weak spots on his turret. We do find one, but we only do 188 damage. It's not great, but that is what this gun does. But we do take nearly 500 in return, so a bad trade there. We're currently on 642 damage and being pushed back down the hill. But pay attention to the mini-map in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And what I've noticed is the Conway is relocating, as is the T103 and 122M. And in terms of the bait and switch, what I'm looking to do is, I'm now trying to bait, and you can see the other Centurion 7-1 coming around there. I'm looking to bait the enemy players to coming over the hill where the Conway, the Object 416 and the T103 can actually start shooting at these targets. And as you can see, there you go, the Chrysler there killed by the Conway. And that Concept now, he's not got that benefit of the ridgeline, and he's being exposed. So although I have been pushed back, I've been utilising my own team who were camping at the back of the map to give me that additional support. And as somebody who does like playing tank destroyers, it can be incredibly frustrating watching your own team die fighting enemy tanks, when if they'd have moved back a little bit or moved around a corner, you could have given them tremendous fire support. And what's happened is we've brought a Chrysler, a Concept 1B and a Skoda T27. We've baited them round the corner, tried to switch to taking out the tracks instead of just trying to get damage, to slow them down and allow the fire support from the back of the map to take effect. And then we've won that ridgeline back, and we're now able to flank those heavy tanks which were pressuring our team, and we're now getting shots in their flank. And as you can see, we're now up to 2,000 damage with 1,000 spotted. So not only are we winning the game, and we absolutely are now winning the game, we also picked up a ton of spotting and assistance damage in the process, utilising those tanks. And as you can see there, the excellent rate of fire from the smaller gun there on the Centurion 7-1. And now there are only 2 tanks left in the enemy team, and we're going to duke it out with this Renegade, who is a particularly tough tank. He's got a good advantage on me. We get one shot into him, but he does have more damage, and he puts a gold round and finishes us off. But we've ended up with 3,600 combined damage there. And that's something, please, I just implore people to think about those tank destroyers and some of those snipers, like a Leopard for example, at the back of the map. Try and be aware of where they're located, and there may well be good opportunities, instead of pushing and pushing to your death, to actually bait the enemy team forwards, either over a hill or bait them round a corner, onto the firing lines, onto the guns of some of those excellent damage dealers and damage support dealers behind you, and that can completely change the game. So you can bait the enemy players over the hill, round the corner, switch from not necessarily going for that damaging shot, but switch for going for a tracking shot. Make sure you keep them spotted, and then you'll be getting all that assistance damage from the supporting elements of those tank destroyers, which have picked, they want to get the damage. They are trying to pick the best lines of sight they can to try and support those frontline players, but they need help to do that as well. Smart enemy players aren't going to leave themselves out in the open, so often it is up to the heavy tanks and the medium tanks to bait the enemy to come round the corner, and then they can get absolutely smacked in the face by those tank destroyers and snipers. Just as you saw in the game here, we took up a position, we lost the position, we started moving back, further and further back, but keeping an eye on the mini-map, looking at the Conway relocating, as did the T103, that they can now get shots on the enemy team. So we go round the corner, we start looking for tracking shots, and in the end we killed the Chrysler, and that Concept 1B, that excellent Concept 1B tank, and really put some damage on the Centurion 7-1 and Skoda T27. It wasn't me doing that damage, but we baited them around the corner so that our team could. So a very short, quick game there. That was a 5-minute game, leading to a successful victory, but utilising that bait and switch tactic, which secured that whole flank for us. So let's jump back into the garage. So there we are, back in the garage, looking at our Centurion 7-1, and the tactic and what we've been talking about in that gameplay video is it can be applied to any tank. However, a tank like the Centurion 7-1 with its medium gun, i.e. a tank that has a very fast rate of fire, can make the absolute most of that type of tactic, because they can continually keep the other enemy tanks as they come round the corner tracked. And the advantage of that, of course, is you're able to track the enemy tank and then get out of the line of fire while your own tanks provide that fire support, keeping you alive. So this tactic could and should be used by any tank, but fast rate of fire tanks are the best ones to do the bait and switch tactic that we've just seen. So as always, thank you for your support. Thank you for the following, the liking, the subscribing on all the platforms that we operate on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Thanks for your support, it's much appreciated. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down, tell me why, and we'll see what we can do to improve it. As always, you've been watching Attribution Gaming, and I'm going to see you on the battlefield.